At this point, I'm sort of waiting for markets on some relievers to develop. And maybe even Garrett Cole, probably not, but always interesting to see the markets for guys coming off of injury. Sometimes you can get guys for really cheap if they're coming off of injury, and they can be good scores. Yulieski Gurriel, kind of an interesting option as a corner guy, right-handed bat, not looking for a lot of money. Keep an eye on him perhaps, because he's only looking for about $5 million. I'm sure he would take a sort of platoon role with us if we wanted. He could replace that power bat that we had in Chris Davis last year. And then other good relievers, Will Harris is coming off of a really good year. Will Smith again, he had a good year. Remember, we almost signed him last year. He had a good year in Houston. So there are options to upgrade the bullpen, and certainly I think spots. I mean, Week, Biagini, Barrett, those are 3 spots. One of them will go to, one of these guys likely, but Delio won't be on the DL. Maybe Puka and Alexander make it, and Faria and Farmer end up in AAA. Alexander could also end up in AAA still. But I think signing at least one more reliever, maybe even 2, would be a good move. This is kind of an interesting offer I got shopping around Rowdy Tellez. The Dodgers want to move on from Jock Peterson. This is another good offer, too, a really good reliever. I think I probably like this deal more, to be honest. Peterson would be nice, but cost-controllable reliever in Birdie probably trumps Peterson just because of Peterson's contract. I'll get into that in a second. Let me go through the rest of the offers. There's some decent guys being offered to us for Tellez. Tellez's ratings have declined a little bit. He's 25 now. Could be just our scout not liking him, but I don't know if I could get Nick Birdie for him. I might consider doing that. Peterson's been a really good player. If you could just find a spot on defense to put him, because he hasn't been a good center fielder or a good first baseman, but he's hit really well. He should be able to play left field fine. I mean, look at his these are his postseason numbers. Look at his regular season numbers. Look at those OPS pluses. 55 home runs last year. And the WAR hasn't been that high because he hasn't played good defense. But the scouting report loves him as a hitter. His ratings are really nice. He's locked up for 3 more years at 13 and then pretty much 18 and 18. It's the last bit, so that would be like a $45 million deal over 3 years. The real question is, should we bring the Birdie brothers together out of the same bullpen? That would be kind of intense. I think that would be pretty cool. I don't know if it's worth giving up Tellez, though, is the thing. Tellez, I think our new scout might just not like him. He's still a productive hitter for us. He's still looking like he's going to be our DH. And, these guys, Bowers and Bell in the outfield, you can move one of them to DH. I mean, it doesn't really matter, I guess. I guess Peterson could just DH. Obviously, you want Kiermaier in center. And then we have 2 decent outfielders around him. So I guess you pretty much just be putting Jock at DH more likely than not. And I just don't know if it's worth really paying the extra money for Peterson, locking ourselves into that contract for the upgrade over Tellez. But Birdie might be nice. That might be a nice move to make. The thing is, then we don't really have anyone to replace Tellez. We would have, I guess we could sign Gurriel, or that kind of eats into our depth a little bit. I'd rather sign Gurriel anyway and keep our guy. So let's make an offer to Yuli for 4 point. Can we do 4 flat? He's looking at signing a deal overseas right now, interestingly enough. But at this point, if we're going to sign both Segura and Yuli, then we need to sign a cheaper reliever than one that I was thinking. We still have $10 million, but I would only want to spend, maybe 5 or 6 of that on a reliever. So that could limit us to maybe Osuna. Maybe it's Osuna. His market seems to be well. Now he's looking at New York for 2 years, $18 million. So Cecil, I don't really have an interest in bringing back. Well, I don't know. I don't really trust Cecil at 34. Something about him. We'd definitely be able to throw Faedo in there, though. Brad Hands, an option as a lefty, still has pretty good ratings. I like that. 7.5. I'd want to see his market go down just a little bit, but Liam Hendricks would also be an option to bring back. the Brad Hand one definitely intrigues me the most. So we're going to keep an eye on that. If we could get him at 5 or 6 million, we would definitely jump. All right, so it's time for the Rule 5 draft. We've got two free open spots in our 40-man, but both of those we're looking like we're going to fill with free agents. So it might be a little bit of a roster crunch. I'm sure we can find a room. It's not likely to be a big deal, but I saw that good catcher Jake Turnbull get taken. Still some interesting players, though. This seems like a pretty good Rule 5 draft class. Bostic, Christian Hicks. So some half-decent infielders looking like they are available. I like Hicks's avoid K rating. Cody Thomas. And don't really love any of his ratings. Go out. This is looking at just overall now. Scott Hurst. Hurst, he could play really good defense in left field. 9th round pick. I think I like Hicks a little bit more as a major league player right now. But the thing about the other guy is that he can play center field, it looked like. This is a good catcher too. There are plenty of good players in this Rule 5 draft. If I was a rebuilding team, I would take a lot of players in this draft. Khalil Lee, corner guy, I guess he can sort of play center, not great though. 22 years old, lefty. I like the guys who can play center field because we don't have a lot of those guys. So the thing about these guys is they would have to stay on the major league roster all year. So as for the infield, I don't really know if we have room, if we have Ibanez. Like if we have Enrique Rodriguez and then Ibanez, we're going to have Segura. So that's 2 infielders right there. Plus, I'm not really committed to Trace Thompson or Ramiro Rodriguez. So I would say that's probably the spot to upgrade as the backup outfielder. So I think for that reason, we're going to go with Scott Hurst over Christian Hicks. And that's going to be our one move, and then I think I'm just going to skip the rest of the draft. There are other players in there that we could get, but just thinking about it logically doesn't really make sense. I just don't think there's going to be room for those infielders on this team. And we still have good depth. Otherwise, we don't need to make a pick like that necessarily. Cecil does not sign. So now we kind of waited too long on Brad Hand. The Astros have gotten to him. They're offering him north of $10 million, which I don't know if I'd pay for him, but he looks like he's a pretty good reliever. So it's too bad that we're missing out on him. Osuna definitely seems like he's going to be the move to bring back. His market is really, really catering. Okay, and I was kind of wrong about Osuna too, so now I'm thinking maybe the smarter thing to do is make a move for Nick Birdie, do the Rowdy Tellez for Nick Birdie swap, bring in Gurriel, maybe bring in another left-handed bat, like not Brad Miller, because he's looking for too much money, but he's a nice first baseman. Oh, we have Rizzo at first base. This is honestly kind of for that DH spot, so it doesn't matter too much what spot on defense they play. Pence, Souza. I'm looking for guys who had half-decent years last year. And we would want a left-handed option. T. Gordon, Michael Brantley. Steven Drew was actually decent last year. 90 games. Had a good OPS. Brantley, maybe, because he definitely can't play the field. He's a left-handed option for $4.2 million. All right, so finally we get good news. Gene Segura signing on with us. I am going to swap his position to shortstop because that's the primary position I want him to be playing with us. And that's really his value, the fact that he can still play good defensive shortstop while being, hopefully a somewhat productive hitter. He can definitely move on the base paths. And let's see what the manager lineup is looking like. So he's actually slotted behind Urena right now. Interestingly enough, I'm sure that will fluctuate throughout the season. I think if Segura plays well, he'll get the chances. All right, and Michael Brantley signs on, so he is likely to play a lot of DH for us this year. As I said, I offered him 1 year, $4 million, and that was good enough. So we're still waiting on Yuli Gurriel. The last I offered him was 2 years at $11 million. The second year is a $5.5 million a year vesting option, and it is for the same number of plate appearances that I gave to Gene Segura in his contract, which is $450. So if we get both of those guys, I'm going to probably move Tellez. Now, Gurriel is becoming pretty competitive to get. We don't have that much money left for free agents, so we're really burning our funds by doing this. But I want Yuli. I think. Well, I guess we could survive with Brantley. I mean, if I already have Brantley, so it makes sense to move Tellez as it is right now, no matter what. We don't have as much depth without Gurriel. But we have the lefty Brantley, so we might as well play him over. Wow, they really want to start Scott Hurst. We might as well play Brantley though over Tellez because we already signed him. And if we could still get that good cheap reliever. I mean, think about the value of getting Nick Birdie. I think that exceeds, what we just paid for a Michael Brantley on the open market, who might not be quite as good at the plate as Tellez, but it's not going to be that much of a drop off. So we'll just see if this offer is still on the table. Sometimes these offers fluctuate, so hopefully we can still get him. He was from Minnesota, of course. Malik Smith being offered. I honestly took a hard look at him for a sec. Corey Knebel now, so he is a free agent in 2 years. He makes a little bit of money, but probably a better reliever than Birdie. But Birdie has 2 more years of team control, which I like. But I don't think that offer is quite on the table as a 1-for-1 anymore. So we'll see if we can squeeze that out of Minnesota. If not, the offer from Milwaukee will definitely suffice. I think I would do that deal. But let's see if we can't get Nick Birdie, because it would be kind of... Okay, we can still do this 1-for-1. I guess I must have just missed him. But it would be fun to wheel out the Birdie brothers. What else can we get in this, just out of curiosity? Trevor May could be another potential get. He's been a decent reliever for Minnesota the last couple years, and wouldn't cost us more than Buck Farmer, but Farmer was so good for us. We could also give up Biagini. I think I like that a little bit more because that's a more similar price comparison, and Biagini he hasn't really impressed that much since we've gotten him. May, on the other hand, was decent last year and was really good the year before. Look at that. And he could also fill in as a spot starter in a pinch, so I like that. That's a little bit added value over... I guess Biagini could sort of do the same, but... Anyway, I think that's a good swap, even though May does make a little bit more. I wonder if we could get them to retain a salary on him. Like 50%. Oh, yeah. What about that? We don't need salary retention on Birdie. Let's do as much as we can on May. 65? All right, so we'll do that. Rowdy Tellez. We get Nick Birdie. Cost controllable reliever. We choose him over Knebel, whatever you call him. And now we have the Birdie brothers, which I think everyone has to appreciate, or everyone can appreciate the humor in. Chris Betts, I added him. He looked like he was good at the time of the Rule 5 player draft. Now I see that he is not. So we need 2 40-man. I know we have plenty of 40-man spots. What am I saying? What am I doing here? So the question is, could we find a right-handed bat? Pretty much the last thing we would need this offseason is a right-handed bat. Likely not going to be Gurriel. If we didn't get that bat, we could potentially spend that money on Osuna. But let's just look at... Honestly, let's just look at all batters, because it doesn't really matter what position. Are there any good right-handed options? Hunter Pence, looking for a little bit more money than I would want to give him. Steven Souza wouldn't be terrible. Average hitter, meh. So I'm not really seeing anything I like. I think I can just wait and see what I can find off of waivers. And then other than that, the only thing left I really want to do is just keep an eye on Osuna, see what contract he's looking like. I think he's probably going to get snatched up, though. I keep forgetting that he did have a market. I don't know why I'm being so stupid. We also have the World Baseball Classic coming up. Oh, baby. That's pretty cool. So first, actually, this would be the second time this has come up since I've started this. And yeah, Gulieski signed to the Mets. Gurriel, not Gulieski. So here's an interesting option for that right-handed bat that I was looking at, Marcell Ozuna. Of course, now we have even less money for free agents than we had before, so I don't know if we're going to have the money to offer him a deal, but he has kind of popped up, and he had a good year last year. All right, so I'd meant to be following along with the World Baseball Classic, and honestly, I thought that was a game against Australia. All right, so it does appear that this is our first game. We've got Canada, Team USA versus Canada. And let's just take a look at who's on the roster. I'm not actually going to play this game, but Raul Mondesi, Jake Bowers representing the Rays, Jock Peterson, Andrew Benintendi. Wow, look at him. He's a beast. Holy smokes. Austin Hedges, Dansby Swanson, Coda Glover getting the start. Interesting. Kershaw on the team, Chris Sale and Blake Snell also representing the Rays. Cody Allen, Wade Davis, Corey Knebel, Buster Posey, Addison Russell, Bregman, Corey Seager not even starting, Trey Turner also not even starting, Byron Buxton. This team is loaded, and they have Mike Trout. I didn't even notice that. So this is a good team. Not a great team, I would say, but way better than Canada. Look at that. And I don't want to play. So I'm just going to simulate through pool play. We've got our first match against Canada. And this should be a win for us to get the Dominican Republic coming up, so we need to get a win to start against Canada. Yes, we do, 9-3. So now we've got the Dominican Republic up in game number 2, and 2 wins in pool play pretty much clinches you a spot in the next round. They also have Colombia coming up. And we beat the Dominican Republic 4-3. Did Sale get hurt? Did I see that? Yeah, he did get hurt. A little shoulder problem. Did not pitch too well. But we come out on top. This team has Segura and Urena. Sano. I see Segura starting over Urena there. Come on. Team Puerto Rico knows. Or Team Dominican Republic knows, Jesus. Yeah, this is a pretty good team. Machado, Mazzara, and Sano in the middle of the lineup. They had David Paulino starting. Not the best starter, but... All right, so 4-3. We have game 3 coming up against Colombia. Likely to advance at this point. And I'm not even looking at the Colombian roster. That's how much I'm disrespecting them. It did take 10 innings, but we do win 4-3. So we sweep pool play. Syndergaard on the mound this time. Mikey Morin coming out of the bullpen. He's pitched 2 shutout innings so far. So he's representing the Rays pretty nicely. And Colombia doesn't really have anyone I recognize. Carlos Vidal, Jorge Alfaro, and Dilson Herrera, Frieri. So none of these guys are really that great, but all right, so we've got Mexico coming up in the second round. Let's just look at the World Baseball Classic thing. World Cup of Baseball, as it's called in this game. And look at the Team United States page. Just go to the home. And this is the lens we should be looking at it through anyway. Daniel Norris, dead arm. That's not good. So we've got Mexico coming up. We were 3-0 in pool play. Birdie's injured now. This is great. Things going really well back in Tampa. So we've got Mexico. Is there a way you can look at the bracket playoff coverage? So our second pool is the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, USA, and Mexico. So the DR making it out of our pool. Ooh, we beat Mexico 3-0. Kershaw. That is what I'm talking about against his teammate Urias. Good stuff there. 10 strikeouts. Complete game shutout. Dominican Republic the next day. Back-to-back games. We're still undefeated. 5-1 win. This was Sale. Look at Sale pitching very well. Making the U.S. 5-0. Now we've got 2 wins in the second round of pool play with our last game against Venezuela. This would obviously clinch a spot in the next round. I see Honeywell just gets hurt. This is really one of the worst spring trainings for the Rays, but this is all right because Team USA doing very well. We're into the semifinals with 3 wins. There's a tiebreaker in, I don't know how they decide the tiebreaker, but 2 teams getting 3 wins, Japan and the U.S. So you would have to call us the favorites. It's Japan, Mexico, and USA against Israel, who was 2-1 in pool play in the first round of pool play, and then I guess they only had 1 win. So they're 3-3 for the tournament and somehow in the semifinals. Go figure. But here we go. Semifinal against Israel. This would be a huge upset if we lost this and we do take it home. They literally, who are they? Like, what? These guys are all just like generated names, I think. What? That is so weird. Kershaw getting the start in the semifinal. I think I would have saved him for the final. I don't know who you would have thrown, though. Would have had to be Syndergaard. I would have thrown Syndergaard in the semifinal and saved Kershaw for the showdown with Team Mexico. It's not going to be the showdown with Team Japan that I had originally thought. Mexico upsetting Japan in the semifinal. And now it's time for the final against Mexico. I guess I could have played that game, but all too late now. And we win 11-2. Chris Sale getting the win in the championship game. And there you have it, Team USA with the championship. I don't remember what happened in 2017 in this save, but obviously this is the first time we played it since then, so that's pretty cool. All right, so we are just a few days ahead of opening day here at the end of spring training. I've cut the rosters down. It did take a little bit of roster crunching. As you can see, Brad Wheat gets claimed off of waivers by Kansas City. I think he's the only guy who's going to get claimed, though. Let's get to opening day. And then I'll show you the other guys who got DFA'd, who got sent down. Kevin Padlo got sent down. So opening day, no top 100 prospects like usual. Royce Lewis, the guy who just went number 1 overall in the draft to the Twins, he is the number 1 prospect for the Braves. And, Liam Hendricks out for the year. That is too bad. Let's look at preseason predictions. Tampa, 93 wins. So we were, I think, projected to win 94 last year. I think we'll do a little bit better than that. Tella is projected to have a good year, so it looks like I probably shouldn't have traded him. Whoops. We'll see about that. And look at Ohtani having a really good breakout, it looks like, for Milwaukee. He was signed, I guess. He was traded. By the Cubs, and he was pretty good as a rookie. So it looks like that would have been a worthy guy to sign. I remember being a little bit skeptical when he came over, but all right. So looking at the roster, you can take a look at the bullpen. We've got Puke in there. Farmer getting the job as the 5th starter over Honeywell, who is out. Honeywell is out for 4 weeks with an injury. So he's actually getting it over Puke, which is kind of curious. I'm surprised, but that's all right. We'll see how that goes. As for the bench, Rodriguez, Brantley on the bench. The game is starting Scott Hurst. We'll see if that lasts. If it does and he doesn't play well, I'll just release him and make sure we get Brantley at bats at there. DH. Ibanez on the bench. Trevino as well. And our best guys from AAA, Kevin Padlo, Demirit, this first baseman. We've got also these guys who are all going to get demoted to AAA who were DFA'd but did make it through waivers. Faria, Trace Thompson, among others. Riley Unruh. And let's just look at the disabled list really quickly. Jose De Leon still out for 4 weeks recovering from Tommy John. And Brent Honeywell out for 3 to 4 weeks with a partially torn labrum. That does not sound too good, but hopefully he will be okay. And all right, that is going to do it. So I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the Rays series. Thanks for watching. Hope you did enjoy, and I'm out. Peace.